Ladies and gentlemen, there might be some people who read this headline or title and say, that's not true. He's being investigated by the Department of Justice for mishandling classified data. Even though, watch the short, my first short on this channel is doing very well. Definitely share that everywhere. James Comey speaks on that short on this channel, and he says, although there's evidence of potential violations of the statutes pertaining to the handling of classified data, no reasonable prosecutor would indict. Our judgment is that no reasonable prosecutor would indict. He's basically telling everybody, or he basically told everybody, that some people are above the law. Well, no reasonable prosecutor would indict a Democrat, but they definitely would indict Trump. I mean, he committed numerous crimes. But he didn't. And Biden, whose Department of Justice is not only investigating Trump, so to assume that he wasn't a part of that when his own Department of Justice is investigating Trump, and Democrats in New York, Georgia, I believe elsewhere, just off the top of my mind, Merrick Garland, so the United States government, the federal government, Merrick Garland, you have prosecutors in Georgia, you have Democrats in New York as well, going after Trump. And when media says, Trump, he went after his direct political rivals, that's projection. Democrats are going after the direct political rivals. They started with the Steele dossier, and they're continuing now with the Mar-a-Lago raid. But read the articles, and I'm going to read these articles. New York Times, Biden calls Trump irresponsible over Mar-a-Lago documents. Irresponsible? Okay. The Hill, Biden-Trump retention of sensitive documents, quote, totally irresponsible. Reuters, Biden says Trump's handling of documents totally irresponsible. The Washington Examiner has an article as well. Biden says Trump's handling of presidential documents totally irresponsible. If you listen to the 60-minute interview, you will learn very quickly that Mashed Potato Brains, our president, did not say that he committed a crime. Now, he didn't say what Trump did was a crime or criminal conduct. He said irresponsible. That's the way Comey described Clinton's handling of classified data, siphoning classified and top-secret intelligence outside of the United States government onto servers that were secret private servers. But sometimes you have to read between the lines when Mashed Potato Brains Joe or any of these politicians, especially Democrats, when they speak. He has to give the facade, the image that he's totally hands-off. Merrick Garland has no political motive. The Mueller probe had no political motive before the midterms in 2018, and definitely Democrats have no political motive in going after Trump right before midterms, which is exactly what they say they shouldn't do to influence the outcome of the midterms. Maybe possibly get the Senate. I don't even think they're going to get the Senate. They'll get obliterated in the House. But if you read and watch Biden explain what took place with Trump, and hit subscribe to this channel, hit subscribe to the Stock Market Crash channel, and H.A. Goodman's other channel, please watch the short and share that everywhere. James Comey is on there, and he explains that some people are above the law. If you want to support my work, my Patreon is below. If you want to give a super thanks, the super thanks button is next to the like and the share buttons. I should have a live stream tonight. So I've been trying to do them earlier, like around 8:30, 9 p.m. I should have a live stream tonight, maybe even 8 p.m. Pacific. But ladies and gentlemen, if there was criminal conduct, and that's not to say that they won't indict him in 23 because Mashed Potato Brains Joe is going to get impeached. He actually did commit crimes. You can't meet in the Oval Office with Hunter's business associates and promise them favors or beneficial treatment or certain foreign policy that will be altered, potentially, possibly. $1 billion in loan guarantees withheld where even the people he was speaking to, and you can go and watch the video, he brags about them saying, you don't have that authority. And then he says, oh, call President Obama. So even the people that he was leveraging and strong arm and you know, utilizing the $1 billion, forcing them to, making them force out a prosecutor, while Hunter was being given $100,000 a month, those people said, you don't have that authority. He said, go call the president. And then you're not going to get that $1 billion until that prosecutor is forced out. Well, the prosecutor, according to Rudy Giuliani and others, was about to investigate the company paying Hunter. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to understand what was going on. That's just the tip of the iceberg. There's clear violations of law, graft, bribery, and then kickbacks are even accepted by, you know, intellectuals on the left as, yeah, there were probably kickbacks, but nothing compared to Trump. What did Trump do that's worse than kickbacks? I want to know. He didn't collude with another country, that's for sure. What did he do? I'm still waiting because they would have indicted him. The point, however, is that had he actually committed a crime, he's a former president. There are no laws pertaining to the handling of classified data for former presidents. There's no precedent. He's not just simply an employee of the United States government. He had the power to declassify. Clinton did not. He had the highest level security clearance. Clinton did not. He did not sign in and sign out in terms of like classified briefings and how he should handle classified information. Okay, he didn't sign documents saying, okay, you've briefed me on how to handle these papers. Madam Secretary did. Okay, when she was interrogated slash just spoken to in the nicest manner, you know, had a brunch with Peter Strzok or whatever, she stated that she didn't know what the C meant. Well, she didn't know it meant confidential, pertaining to classified data. But so Democrats will just say the most absurd things and expect the entire country to believe them, which and media does. But the point is, 7 minutes in, if there was evidence of a criminal act, Biden would use the word crime, criminal act. He would not say irresponsible. Now, that doesn't mean Trump's not going to get indicted. They could possibly indict him because, like I said, Mashed Potato Brains Joe is going to get impeached. He will be impeached. Those are clear violations. Like the emails, Hunter's emails that the New York Post and Daily Mail broke. Well, the New York Post broke that story, and it was covered also by the Daily Mail and others, show clear graft, bribery, violations of the law. Problem with Democrats who disown friends and family because they're completely they have a distorted view of politics. They've merged religion with politics. It's like their view of morality. They're ignorant when it comes to the corruption of their own political party. The New York Times doesn't talk about Hunter's emails. Okay, the Washington Post doesn't either. And if they do, it's to downplay everything. It's not that big of a deal. You can't prove anything. With Trump, did he do it? He must have done it. So we're talking about a battle of emotion here. You have an entire public relations machine ensuring that at least half the electorate or more than half the electorate isn't suspicious or doesn't distrust Democrats or is more suspicious of Trump and distrusts Trump more than they do Democrats. It's about emotion. These people are actors. You see these Democrats talking about, virtues and morals, and when you see what happens in Martha's Vineyard, or you see a Democrat losing firearms to burglars. These people, when push comes to shove, the average Democrat is really a Trump Republican. When it comes to their safety, when it comes to an influx of human beings in the area that they live, Democrats are they are Trump Republicans. Now, there's the Green Party, there's the far left, and that's fine. If you vote, in my view, I'm voting Trump 1,000,000 out of 1,000,000 times because we had record low poverty. in 2019, record highs in household median income. He was a fantastic president when you judge him simply on how a president is judged. Okay? I would never vote for Mitt Romney or Liz Cheney or Adam Kinzinger. Okay? If it was Tulsi Gabbard versus Mitt Romney, I'd vote for Tulsi Gabbard. Even though I'm perhaps more conservative on the Second Amendment and other things, but I vote for the human being, the person. Trump took on a very corrupt system, and we see what's going on right now, the same system that cheated Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders and the Lincoln Project vote for the same political side. Think about that for a second. A Green Party candidate, which is essentially what Bernie Sanders is, and the Lincoln Project are on the same political side. The Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld Republicans that plunged the world into never-ending counterinsurgency conflicts. But getting back to what I was talking about, like people who vote Green Party and not Democrats, not the Democratic Party, I respect those people greatly. I really do. If you say that you're a socialist and you're this hardcore progressive and you don't vote Green or you don't vote there's a socialist party, then you're probably a phony, but definitely a hypocrite. And then when you say, well, they're never going to win. It's like, well, then your vantage points is still not being addressed by the Democratic Party. That's a whole other story. Okay? We have poverty at like 15% now. Poverty has increased since Trump, not decreased. The whole allure to being a morally superior, highly educated liberal Democrat is you care about poor people. Poverty has increased. Hello? But anyway, we had record low in terms of poverty with Trump, a record. Since 1959, they started recording poverty rates in the U.S. We had a record low with Trump. Okay? We had record highs in household median income. We now have a stock market. We've seen the stock market crash. It's going to get much, much worse. Hit subscribe to the Stock Market Crash channel. And we have inflation at 8 to 9%. Interest rates rising. They'll rise, this week? And you have everything from household median incomes to poverty rates. Household median incomes plummeting, poverty rate going up. And you could have averted all of this with Trump. So, the question is, what did Trump do to you, morally superior liberal Democrats? You had 50 human beings lose their lives in the most atrocious, heinous manner, horrific manner, in a vehicle. I don't want to get too graphic, but not one word from AOC or Democrats. They don't care about the lives of people, and God bless them, who are trying to come to this country for a better life, even though they're breaking the law. God bless these people. You think AOC truly cares? When has she condemned anything that Biden has done? Okay, you're talking about people who are on one political side. They want power and influence. Generally, they're first and foremost actors. And they've done a routine on preaching and pontificating and giving these sermons, lectures on morality to Democrats who actually just want to feel good about themselves. They don't care. What took place in President Obama's administration and what's taking place in Biden's administration is worse than even what took place with Trump in terms of immigration. I was against separation. I think that was a terrible policy, and he ended that. It happened for a little while, and then he said, you know what, let's reverse that. And so it was a terrible, but what's happening is worse. You can't even describe the Senate panel that what took place in President Obama's administration. Democrats don't. There's even a New Yorker article on it pertaining to that topic. And now you see what's taking place in Martha's Vineyard. Okay, and the same thing with security details. When it comes to when the most left-leaning Democrats, when it comes to their safety, you better believe they're spending $30,000 on security details. Sorry, the average American, I don't have $30,000 to spend. That's why I have the Second Amendment. I own firearms because I don't have $30,000 to spend on a security detail. Well, also, I would own firearms anyway. Police told me to do so. So, when I had a threat on my life on Twitter from somebody on the left, because that's how things run on the left. But if you don't have any attempts at intimidation, coercion, social media algorithms, everything from late night Stephen Colbert, Jimmy Kimmel, the political party and the ideology doesn't function. They don't believe in. That's why, like, Biden is flooding strategic petroleum reserves into the country. Okay, it's the opposite of the Green New Deal. And then they're like, oh, he spent so much on the climate in his last bill. Does it address the strategic petroleum reserves? Does it address him begging other countries for fossil fuels? I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist. You don't have to be a brilliant, highly educated Democrat to realize the absolute hypocrisy going on within the Democratic Party. Trump Republicans, Donald Trump believes what he says, tries his best to implement everything, and is stopped by never-Trumpers and mainly Democrats and media. And we had a great economy under Trump. So the question is, what did this man do to you? What did Trump do to you for you to want a recession? Bordering on a potential depression. Like, when will there be economic growth? Don't talk about the unemployment rate. It took 2 years to get to where we were when Trump was in office, before bureaucrats and Democrats and media and highly educated and all the experts said, shut down the U.S. economy. I have to. And then the Washington Post every other month, Trump wants to open up. It's too soon, too soon. And still more people lost their lives under Biden. And that is a fact. And so, like, every topic you can see Trump is better on. Every single topic. When you look at the aggregate numbers, whether it's the economy or any other topic, he's better. But he's mean. And he did something, we don't know what. And they would, if you look at what Biden has done, democracy, if you look at what Biden has done, he's tried to call that Trump, a menace to democracy. These people cheat Bernie Sanders. They don't even have a functioning primary. They don't even have a functioning primary. They cheat Bernie Sanders every chance they get, and then they pontificate about democracy. I mean, you can't find greater hypocrites than these people. My God. But anyway, it's like you have a situation where there are so many people who would rather have a terrible economy and a horrible foreign policy. And yesterday, the other day, it's like, U.S. troops defend Taiwan. What? We don't even have the money. First of all, we wouldn't do that because that would cause a nuclear annihilation. That would cause a nuclear. They have something called nuclear armament. Yes. And so we couldn't. That's why we haven't done anything in Europe with troops. So that's number one. Number two, we don't even have the money even if we could. And thank God we don't have the money right now for that. We should have the money, but you know what? We committed this economic sin called tanking the U.S. economy because the apoplectic, morally superior among us said we should do that. And they're wrong on everything. I speak in terms, one of my wonderful subscribers has called me the algorithmist. So before I speak to you, I speak to the robots. And every YouTuber does. Well, actually, every supporter of Trump on YouTube speaks to the robots first and then to the audience. Well, there are people more courageous than I am, let's put it that way, but I just don't want to deal with the headache. So I communicate, I say everything that I want to say in the most diplomatic, civil, and hopefully amusing manner possible, but always abiding by YouTube policies. But if he could get Trump on a crime and say that he committed a crime, he would do so. This nonsense that he doesn't want to get involved, it's his DOJ, okay? And he was involved in setting up and framing Michael Flynn. So anyway, and there's other reasons too. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe to this channel right now, ladies and gentlemen. I should have a live stream tonight.